My name is Emma Maggs, founder of Wildfemmes. I'm on a mission to find out how women stay wild in today's society. And in my very first episode, I'm excited to be chatting with someone I've known for 20 years. Vanessa Budah is a specialist in PR and communications, a citizen of the world, and a manifesting queen. We'll be chatting all things business, core values, emotional mastery, and her template for life. The truly extraordinary manifestation technique she developed with huge success, and so much more. This is Wildfemmes. So let's jump right in, but I want to start off on something just a little light and sweet.
Please.
Are you someone that utilizes positive affirmations?
Yes, absolutely.
How do you use them in your daily life?
Yeah, so I think it's more just keeping me on track again and just remembering what I'm all about and where I'm at in life. So trust the process would be a massive one that I often wake up to in the morning if I'm feeling a bit like about things. And also I'm exactly where I should be right now, which just enables me just to be grounded in that moment.
Okay, so I'm building up a big list, and so I'm adding these to my list. So
yeah,
thank
do.
you so much. So I'd love to take everyone back to when you were at school, and I'd love to know what you were like back then.
To be honest, it's not much different from the way I am now. Like I was really quite I liked being social, outgoing, bubbly, making people happy. What not many people would know about me, I was actually raised as a Jehovah's Witness. So for someone that's quite social, I actually wasn't allowed to celebrate birthdays or Christmases or go to like the blue light disco and you know how much I love dancing. So I really kind of missed out on that side of things. So Jehovah's Witness, it's very much religious based as opposed to spirituality. And the irony is now I'm quite spiritual. I wouldn't call myself religious, but it's very much, it was very much family orientated, which was great. And it gave me like social, moral groundings. Having said that, I wasn't allowed to celebrate birthdays or Christmases. And so quite often I felt quite left out of things, given that by nature, I'm quite a social person. And then I kind of went through a period where it kind of made me feel a bit more introverted and I became quite shy throughout my teenage years. And then when I was like 19 years old, I realized my true self is actually the more vibrant sort of personality. And then I booked myself a round the world ticket when I was like 20 years old and I traveled the world. And that's when it kind of just, everything about me just changed to the way I'm supposed to be actually, which was this social traveler that I am.
You set Vanessa free by the sound of it.
Yeah, set Vanessa free.
The thing that I really wanted to talk to you about is the Buddha template for life. Now, obviously, manifestation is something that is a hot topic and a lot of people talk about it. I did a little bit of Googling and I watched The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, and back then it was called The Law of Attraction. And I read a little bit about Greek mythology saying that only gods and goddesses can actually utilize the law of attraction. So I'm really interested to learn more about your template and how you manifest.
It's really interesting that you say that around, the Greeks believing it was the god and goddesses that could manifest, because again, being brought up as a Jehovah's Witness, that there is a God. At the same time, I truly believe that there is a God within us as well. So therefore the Greeks are correct in saying that gods and goddesses can manifest. Therefore all of us can. I truly believe, and especially with like this template for life and for manifesting, anything you want in life within reason is yours. And when I say within reason, it's you also have to put the steps to get to it as well. It's not like you can just say I want to be a millionaire and not even buy a Tats Lotto ticket and just expect it to land in your lap. So it's like being real with yourself as well. And I found that through life, anything I've wanted has come into fruition. Some things might take longer than expected, but at the same time, time is irrelevant. When it's meant to happen, it will happen. Fortunately for me, when it came to career, sometimes within 24 hours, like things would just like happen. Relationships take longer, but that's okay, because I also realized that's been part of my growth and evolving as a woman as well, was to really, rather than jump into something, it was to work on myself and my relationship with self before I can go forward with anything else. So the template for life, really, I just see it as goal setting with the universe. And when it comes to manifesting, it's all about the feeling as well. It's one thing to like write a list of all the things that you want, but unless you really feel into it and believe that you have it, you're not really watering that seed of fruition. So when I do a template for life, at the top of the page, it'll just be what my goal is or my goal or wish is. And let's say it's related to career. So I'll be very specific in saying, the perfect job opportunity makes its way to me. Very specific, because I want the job opportunity to make its way to me, not me having to chase something. Because when you're chasing something, that's a very different energy as opposed to being in the flow. And then I divide the page into two, and this is where the template comes into play. I'll underline from me on the left-hand side and from the universe on the right-hand side. So for me, everything that I am in relation to that goal. So if it's career, then it's, I am confident, I am positive, I am creative. So all the I am, and you're feeling good about yourself because you are all these things. And it's interesting because like talking with friends and when I put a template for life together, it's because maybe I'm feeling a bit flat or lost about something and you forget who you are, especially, for friends that have young children, that they're all about the children and the family and being a wife or a husband, that they forget who they are sometimes. So when you're like, I am, it's like, oh my God, yes, I am this person, I am that person. And you're feeling really good about it. And then on the right-hand side from the universe, everything that you want the universe to provide, that's already yours. So think of it that you already have it and feel like you already have it. So, write down how much you're earning, write down all the positive things, over your whole career that you've really loved about this job and that job, and just list it down. If you have to think about the negative things that happen, flip it into a positive. Like, for example, I had a boss that just kept really squishing my confidence. So boss must be a mentor, must support me. So all those sort of things, again, flip it into a positive. And so when you're putting a template together, it's like planting the seed. When you're writing all these things and feeling into it, you're watering that seed into life. And then at the very end, and this is very important, you write thank you because it's already yours. And you only say thank you when you've received something. And that to me is a little handshake with the universe because it's yours. And that, my friend, is the template for life.
Where did you learn this from? Because it is like I said before, I've read Jordana Levin's book where she has her own personal equation for manifestation. And I've watched this and I've done all these types of things. And this is the most unique technique for manifestation that I've seen. And you taught me this a while ago and I use it myself now. And I'm a true believer. So how did this kind of template come into your life?
So like anything, like when you're searching for something, like when you're feeling flat and you're searching, then it just kind of comes into your world, I guess. And it's up to you to see those opportunities and take it. So when I first moved to Sydney from Melbourne, like 15 years ago, probably for the first 6 months, I was like getting to know a lot of people and had a great time, but it was just kind of vacuous sort of parties where I just felt like people weren't really connecting with me. And all I wanted was like true connection, true friendship with people. And then one day I just found myself on Bondi Beach, just crying. And I realized I'd experienced loneliness for the first time in my life. I went from the extreme of running here, there, everywhere, compared to all of a sudden moving to Sydney. Didn't really know many people. I didn't have a job because it was like peak GFC. I didn't know who I was anymore. And I experienced loneliness. And there I was, totally ugly, crying on Bondi Beach. And that's how I remember wiping my tears and going, here I am sitting on Bondi Beach, one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. Like, I should be grateful for this and be in the moment because I know I'll make friends. I know I'll get a job. I know, this is inevitable, like all these sort of things. I just need to sit with it and just be appreciative of what I have, because I know that when I do get a job, I won't have time just to sit on the beach every single day during summer, and then you get the job and it's like, I just want to be sitting on the beach right now. But
we had it good for a while there, didn't we?
Had it good for a while there. I was lonely, but goddamn, my tan. Anyway, I digress. So I came across this book. It's called Ask and It's Given. And they had a template in there. And I just kind of made it my own kind of thing. And I didn't realize that over the years, I evolved it into my own thing and I had renamed it Template for Life. And so it's just kind of become my thing, and it's what's worked for me. And it's worked for so many friends that have also, done it as well. My biggest thing is like, when you do it, just let me know when you're starting to like tick things. Because what you do is, I haven't even shared, like, once you've put the template together, rather than obsess over it and look over it daily, because that's what stops manifestations from happening. When you've got an attachment to something, like an attachment to a certain person or attachment to a certain outcome, that all of a sudden you're living in the future, you're not actually being present and just going with the flow. So it might sound like a little bit of a contradiction, but allows you to like just let go of control. And that is so key to a lot of things. Just like let go of control, just control what you can, which is just being present, and just trust that everything is just going to flow as it's supposed to. Because sometimes you have a picture in your head of what it should look like, but really that's actually not what it should be. It should be this, but it's the same feeling of joy, but it actually looks like this instead. So you have to let go of that attachment.
You mentioned to not be attached to the outcome. Do you think that with such kind of like targeted manifesting practices, you could be subconsciously blocking other things in other areas of your life?
Yeah. Yep, totally. And that's when you stop the flow from happening. And that's why I say, like, when it comes to manifesting relationship, never put a person's name to it, because you can't control their destiny. You can't control their future. And then you're attached to this person. It's like going to a psychic and them saying, your man is a Sagittarian, he looks like this, he looks like that. So you razor sharp on this guy when there's all these other guys around and your soulmate's standing over there, but you're so focused on some other person altogether. So you just need to let go of all that. So that's why you go with the feeling as opposed to what it looks like. So when it comes to career, like, this is how I should feel in my career. This is how I should feel in a relationship, not he must look like this, that must be my title or whatever.
So when you're doing your right-hand side with the universe, you should write down the feelings you want to feel as well, not just the opportunities or the things that might come.
All of it. When I write feelings down, it might be just amazing atmosphere, incredible camaraderie, just that, like that kind of, and that's what I've loved in previous roles. And again, it's just take all the positive from life over the 10, 20 years and just put it on the right-hand side.
Very interesting. Okay, I might actually do up a little diagram and show people so they know what we're talking about after this, because it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, the great pivot was something that we all had to learn how to do. But I truly believe, Ness, that you've been pivoting before it was a thing. And I would love to talk to you a little bit about flow and alignment in your career and personal life, and how you've navigated that in regards to your thoughtful approach to business and aligning your projects with your core values.
You know me as, and all my friends know me as, positive happiness and everything. But of course, you can't maintain that level like 24/7, because that means you're not human and probably a robot, or you're actually not really dealing with your emotions and trying to push it aside. So during the pandemic, there were days on end that I just couldn't stop crying, because everything that I dreamt and aspired for 2020 had just been ripped away. And so hence why the pivot came in, where it's like, okay, that's just been ripped away from me. So what can I do next to try and just, get myself back to where I need to be, sort of thing. But you just have to stay strong. And so long as you feel grounded in here and where your feet are as well, then you're standing strong, essentially. So when it came to career, like I've always just said, and I've done this for years, happiness is the key to success. It's not the other way around. If it is the other way around, then you're chasing the dragon. Like if you're happy in what you do, then you'll always be successful. It's so simple and it's so true. And when I do things in life, if I'm feeling a bit complacent about something, then I just ask myself, does this make me happy? It's such a basic question, but if it's a yes, then great, keep going with it. If it's a no, then sit with it. And why am I unhappy? And then when you start to unpack things, that's when you can start to be a bit more strategic in where you're going to pivot to next.
Can you maybe share like a couple of those big growth moments where you've realized perhaps you weren't happy and how you went about it?
If you're going into the office and you're not feeling alive about things and wanting to high five people, or you're trying and there just seems to be like some sort of a setback, that setback is a hurdle to either jump over or to actually, maybe it's just stopping you because you're not meant to be going in that direction, no matter how hard you try. And it's got nothing to do with your employer or your business partner or yourself even. It just means you're not meant to be going in that direction. I always believe where there's flow, that's where opportunity grows, and that's just the direction you're meant to take. When sometimes, something happens and all of a sudden things just start landing in your lap, or you bump into the person that you're thinking about, like that's when you're in flow and in total alignment of where you're meant to be. But when all of a sudden, you might be bursting into tears, or you've got writer's block, or whatever it is, it's you're not meant to be going down that path, or you need to like just really sit with it and figure out why and just work on it.
Traditionally, our mums and dads probably had a job and they kept it for many, many, many years.
Yes.
But now we're in this really fortunate position where we can actually design the lives we want to live. How important is that to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think in some ways we're almost spoilt for choice, and not in a negative way, but like in the most positive way, because that means there's an abundance of opportunity for everyone. And you're right, it's absolutely about designing the life that you want to live. So when I was, as an example, with the travel corporation, in that role, I was able to design it the way I wanted it to be. So it felt like it was my business as well. And it was all about like just writing things down, because I was so razor sharp on what I wanted and what I wanted from a job and the opportunity as well. Unlike, our parents that just stayed in the one position because that's what they were kind of told to do. Like, you have the family, you do the job, you make the money, and that's it. And then you go into retirement. Whereas here it's like, cool, I might do a year of this or 2 years of that. And, like I've always had 4 years, 2 years of being in jobs. The last year I probably jumped around a little bit, like 3 months here, 3 months there, which kind of knocked me around a little bit in terms of, to be quite frank, like my confidence, because it's like, oh, what's happening here? I'm not used to this. But then you just kind of go with the flow and go with the different pivots of direction and everything, and trust the process, as I mentioned. And it goes back to like the mantras, and sure enough, it's because you're being swayed to different directions that are more aligned with you. So sometimes when things are changing rapidly, it's because you actually do deep down subconsciously know what you want. So that's why these changes are happening. But also it's because you're bettering yourself and you're growing, and it's enabling you for growth, and to evolve as well in your career, and also like as a human. Another saying that I always think about, and I share with friends as well, when I feel that they're, should I go this way or that way? Like, why things are not working for me? To get the most out of life, you need to decide what you want, because I truly feel like as soon as you decide what you want, then the universe goes, well done, great, here you go, and starts to bless you with all the things that you deserve in order to go into that direction. Because otherwise it might be like showing you the perfect man or woman in front of you, or showing you the most perfect job or opportunity, and you're like, nah, because you actually don't know what you want. Hence that's what leads down the track of like, emotional unavailability, or just, being stuck in a career that you're not excited about.
I love the vision of the universe giving me a round of applause.
Yes, well done, Emma. Well done, you.
We've spoken a lot about flow and alignment and how we navigate consciously and things like that, which brings me to my next area that I'd love to chat with you about, which is emotional mastery. Now, this is something that I'm very interested in this at the moment, because I'm doing a lot of work on myself. But, I really am intrigued about how people navigate, emotional triggers and imposter syndrome, and, just basically how you pull yourself out of the trenches when you're having a hard time.
Yeah.
Are you someone who knows your own emotional triggers?
I do now. It's not something that I just like knew and like, was born with. And that just comes over time and experience as well. And, doing the work, speaking with like therapists or like healers or whatever it is, and doing like various workshops to really understand myself and those emotional triggers. Many years ago, I saw an astrologist. It was really fascinating, for one, but also he gave me this great analogy that's always stuck with me. And basically, if you picture it this way, like everyone is in their own movie, everyone's writing their own script. So, you've got your script, I've got my script, we're characters in each other's movie right now. Hey. And so that's why when I say something, and let's say I say something to you and you react a certain way, which can be perceived as negative, at the same time, I won't take it personally, because I know that wasn't my intention to upset you. And I don't know what's going on in your movie and what's going on in your world. Therefore, I won't let it upset me. So it's just a nice way to look at it, because there used to be a time that I was a massive people pleaser, and I was bending over backwards for everyone. And if I didn't get the reaction that I was expecting, again, like setting high expectations, if I wasn't getting certain reactions from people, then I would take it to heart that they don't like me, they're not into me. I've said something, I've done something wrong. It was always about me doing the wrong thing, when really it's actually about them as much as it is about me as well. So we jump to the conclusion. And when you think about it, like, that's why you need to look after yourself, because no one else is going to do it. They're too busy looking after themselves, so there's nothing wrong with being a little bit selfish in some ways.
Yeah, 100%. And that's like the hardest thing to learn, right? Is to learn to not take their reaction is not the result of my
Yeah.
action.
Yeah, totally.
RuPaul from RuPaul's Drag Race talks a lot about the self-saboteur and our internal dialogue and how kind of what you were saying about our own script writer.
Yeah.
How do you manage your internal dialogue when it starts to run away with itself a little bit?
I can call it out straight away, because it's a feeling when all of a sudden you start to get all these like thoughts in your head, and then you start to feel really like low and sad and everything. And it's okay to sit with that as well, because we're all humans at the end of the day. So, you know, sometimes if I'm feeling sad, I'll just be sad, like, you know, because I know this is just a moment, it's going to pass, it's okay. And so I'll just kind of pull myself out of it. Or a little thought might just pop in, and it's just like, a better thought will kind of just like catch it out straight away. And again, we're our own worst enemies. And that just comes with, you know, again, as you evolve and with growth as well, that, you know, not to blame yourself and not to be so critical on yourself as well, because when you're comparing yourself, like, comparison is a thief of joy, like, full stop.
Completely agree with that. Well, that brings us on to my next question as well, about imposter syndrome. Now, you have worked on some really big projects with some very influential people. So has there ever been a moment where you felt like, whoa, what am I doing here?
Yeah, like, often. But at the same time, like, something that my mum said is like, just fake it till you make it. The truth is, you know, you can do it. It's just the voice in your head that's going, I think there's someone better that can do it over you. But that's just like a mean girl voice that it's just like, no, like, I've got this job for a reason. They saw the potential in me. Why can't I see the potential in me? And that's when you just have to go, you know what, I'm just going to deliver the best job for them. And then again, just don't make it about yourself. Just get the job done.
We can channel a little bit of Leah Simmons, you know, I can do this. I am doing this.
Totally.
You know, when you've been having a really hard time, or you've come across some really tough challenges, or, you know, some very serious things in your life, how have you maintained your positivity? Because I've always really been inspired by the fact that you are so positive and you've been able to keep striding forward, you know, through the roller coaster that is life.
I'm always just honest with myself and with my friends as well. Like, if you know, you might not hear from me, like, maybe I've just had some me time, because like, that's really important. Like, throughout my 20s, I didn't make any time for myself. I was always the people pleaser, just running around, pleasing everyone else, to the point I just didn't really know who I was, almost. And it was like, my friendships were more like good friendships that I've had for years, but more on a surface level, because I didn't even have quality time for them, because I was always like bouncing around to try and please everyone. So, you know, and then as you get older, again, it's just like making time for yourself. Because if your cup is full, then you've got more time to give to everyone else and make quality time too. And it's quality time, you know, with others is actually one of my like top 5 love languages too. So, you know, if I'm spending quality time with you, it's because I love you. Exactly.
Very good to know. I also love to know people's love languages.
Yeah.
Makes life extra special. Obviously, we mentioned before, your job can be very busy and fast paced at times. You know, how do you deal with the high pressures of day to day? Like, is there any like kind of practices or things that you might do that might help?
You know, I've mentioned grounding like quite a fair bit actually, and it's probably really come to my attention probably in the last, you know, 3 months or something. It might sound like I've done this my whole life, but I haven't, because we're all constantly evolving and learning about ourselves and everything. But grounding and just being still and just realizing the magic in just taking a deep breath, because it grounds you. It really does. And it just allows you to like focus again, rather than running off adrenaline and being reactive. It allows you just to take a step back, just breathe, and just fill your lungs up with oxygen again, and your mind.
Jump right out of that fight or flight mode.
Exactly.
And are you impressed with how a lot of big corporations now are integrating wellness into their daily life in the office? Because like people like Ariana Huffington have really shone a light on burnout and, you know, the fact that you know, the hustle culture isn't actually that good for us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's amazing. And, you know, if we have to take some nuggets from the pandemic, if it wasn't for the pandemic, a lot of corporations wouldn't have realized, oh, I can actually trust my staff and they'll still get the job done and they can still have work-life balance. They don't need to be in the office. You know, and at the same time, it doesn't work for everyone, but I feel that's great where everyone took interest in other people's lives outside of the office as well. So I think that's really played a huge role in the change.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. Like I felt that shift as well. Like I felt like I could achieve more on some occasions. So it was a really interesting process, and I'm sure a lot of people went through it as well.
Yeah.
Now we're just about near the end of our time together. You've been so generous with your time. So thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So I have a couple of quick power questions I ask everyone who comes for a chat.
Yeah.
First one, how do you stay wild at home?
You know what? I'm just very playful by nature. So it's just, how do I stay wild? If I'm not doing TikToks, no. But seriously, I think it's just having a playful nature, whether I'm at home or out and about. It just keeps me like, I'm not like wild crazy, but it's more like wild, fun, daring, harmless sort of stuff. And I think that's why I look a lot younger and feel a lot younger than what I actually am. And people often ask me this because I am 41 years old. Like, honestly, the truth is I'm young at heart, and that's all it is. Like, my parents are exactly the same as well. Like, my dad's 85. He feels like he's in his 40s. My mum's 70. She feels like she's in her 50s. Yeah, like it's just be young at heart and just keep that inner child with you.
How do you bring that wild nature to the workplace?
I've never changed who I am. I've always stayed true to myself. And it's funny, like years ago when I was at a corporation, I was actually told that I would never be successful because I was too nice. So I nearly switched industries altogether, in fact. But I was like, you know what? No, I really love what I do, et cetera, et cetera. And then I just remained true to myself. And so I'm still a nice, kind person in the role that I am. And that's why I do have all the connections. I've never burnt any bridges with clients, with employers, because I value their time as much as they value mine. And also, life's too short to be serious. Like, just have fun with it, you know?
I need a little bit of you rubbing off on me. A little bit of Buddha by name, Buddha by nature, hey?
That's it, girl.
Well, thank you so much again for joining us. It has been
pleasure.
so enlightening. I'm sure everyone really got a lot out of it, and I'm very excited to share this with everyone. If anyone has any questions for Vanessa, you can reach out to me at Wildfemmes on Instagram, and I look forward to sharing more stories. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Kiss from the universe.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for listening to Wildfemmes. Be sure to follow us on our journey to connect with women and share their stories all over the world. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or head over to Wildfemmes' site to peruse the magical underwater muses. Stay wild.